Hi everyone, welcome to Tao Talks. I'm Friar Rick and I'm with
Friar Raad Eshoo.
Raad Eshoo. And Raad, what does your name mean?
Thunder.
Thunder.
Yes.
Raad has a really unique story. He is a friar originally from Iraq who emigrated to Canada and is now a friar here in the United States. So I thought it would be cool for our Tao Talks audience to learn a bit about you. Tao Talks it's kind of like the name comes from TED Talks. Mm-hmm. We couldn't use that name actually, but it's a Franciscan kind of version of that, where we tell stories and do faith formation and help people learn how to live their faith in today's world. So we're really happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Tell me, so you were born in Mosul, Iraq. Mm-hmm. So that's a for us both a place that's very far away, but one that many of us are aware of because we saw it in the news during the war and even today. What year were you born? How big is your family? And what was it like growing up in a place like Mosul?
I was born in 1986 in Mosul, Iraq, and I have a big family, 5 sisters and brother. And growing up in Mosul was very interesting. It wasn't easy, but it was challenging for me and with my faith too as a Christian. And after the war, we started the persecution against the Christians. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what was the daily life like for you as a child there?
Daily life, going to school, try to learn. You know, coming back from school, doing my homework, and then being with friends and family. And also going to church. I was really involved a lot in church activities in Mosul.
Now, church, you are part of the Chaldean Rite.
Yes,
correct?
yeah,
Right?
correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Chaldean Rite?
The Chaldean Rite is a group of people who are Christian who lives in Iraq, in Mosul, in Baghdad, and part of the south of Iraq. And we speak Chaldean, which is a simplified Aramaic. And we have our own rites and our own liturgy, and we based in Iraq.
So Aramaic, you'll remember, is the language that Jesus spoke. So we joke around with Raad that he can speak directly to Jesus. He doesn't have an need for interpreters. Yeah. And what was it like in terms of Christians and Muslims living together? What was that like?
Before the war, we were in peace, living with each other, and we shared a lot of daily activities together, and we were in good terms, you know, as brothers and sisters. But after the war, started things to get crazy, a little bit difficult, and.
The other thing that happened while you were a kid is your dad passed away, right?
Yes.
What happened to your father?
He died when I was 9 years old, okay. And
he had been sick.
Yeah, he has a throat cancer. That's why he died. And
so, and how many kids did your mom have? 7 of you?
Yeah, 5 sisters and a brother.
So
and myself.
So 7 kids.
Yeah.
So she was left as the single mom of,
yes.
Of 7 kids. That's a huge endeavor. So you're growing up in Mosul, and then did the war start like all of a sudden? What did you experience in terms of war in Mosul?
The war started in 2003, and then after that we kind of were in transition situation from the previous regime to the new government, and all these violence and persecution started after 2004, mm-hmm. in the beginning of 2005. There where started all these persecution and killing against the Christians in Iraq.
So directed against the Christians.
Yes, yeah.
But in general, with the war, did you experience the war firsthand, or was it something far away?
It was something unusual for me. It wasn't something like It was like an action movie. It wasn't real. It was something like it happened right away. Just it was. There were some scary moments during the war that I experienced.
So as a kid, firsthand, you saw stuff?
Yeah, I saw dead bodies, chopping heads and chopping off heads, and the many other innocent people get killed. That's the thing. That was my reason. That was my concern. Like, why such of these innocent people get killed without doing nothing.
Yeah. And that affected your relationship with people who are Muslim in Iraq? Did you see tensions emerging with you? People who had been formerly your friends, how did that affect the relationship?
Yes, we started going back and forth of saying, like, my faith is better than your faith. You should convert to my faith, to Islam. The Christians didn't do that. The Christians were just try to live through it, try to be as best as they could. But the problem is the other people start pressuring us to do, or forcing us to leave our faith and to join them. Yeah, that was the thing. We even I remember my friends. They were like, I had many invitations for me to convert to Islam, and I simply said no.
So you were saying earlier when we were talking about this that during the reign of Saddam Hussein there was a certain balance in society, and Christians and Muslims got along, and then after the fall, and things fell apart.
Yeah.
And at what point did your family say, we can't do this anymore?
After 2007, my family decided to leave Iraq after the persecution got very, very bad towards us, and after also the bishop was killed and many other priests who were kidnapped and killed, then decided that there is no future in the land that we belong to. It was our land. We are Aboriginal people, and they then decided to go to a safer place.
So that must have been very difficult. I mean, you're as you said, it's your land, and not to feel safe in your own home. And where did your family go?
We decided to go to Syria. At that time, Syria was a very peaceful country, So we went to Syria, and then after we got to Syria, my mother applied for a refugee status at the UN in Syria.
And that usually takes, because we hear people in camps for years and years. Were you in a refugee camp, or were you able to just go into Syria proper?
No, we just like we were normal people as Syrian people. We rented an apartment, and we just lived normally.
And did you expect to be there for a while, or what were you thinking?
The norm was usually any family would stay for at least 5 to 7 years, but our situation was different. We got accepted within 7 months.
Wow.
And in September 2007, we flew from Syria going to Canada. We got accepted.
So you got accepted to Canada. And
yeah.
I remember Canada had a program where they would highlight people who were single parents, people with disabilities. So a mom with 7 kids would have certainly qualified for refugee status.
Yeah.
And where did you go?
We went to Saskatoon. Saskatchewan.
One of the cities in Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is one of the provinces of Canada, one of the 10 provinces, and it's in the prairies.
Yes.
What's Saskatchewan like?
Oh, it's flat. Yeah, it's flat. There's nothing there. Just it's beautiful province.
It's your home.
It's my home. I enjoy going there. Family, friends, and a lot of good times in Saskatoon. But my mother decided to go there because my brother was there before us, okay. And as I said, he's married and he has a family there. So just to keep the family together, my mother decided to go to Saskatoon.
Wow. So what was it like? Was there a Chaldean community there? Was there a church? What
Yes,
was it like
there is
to
a
be-
Chaldean parish there, and we have a really nice community of a lot of, I think, over 300 families, Chaldean families, and we do a lot of things together, and it's a one big family.
How old were you when you went to Canada?
20.
20 years
yeah,
old.
20 years
so
old.
an adult. Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And so what'd you do? Did you go to school? Did you study?
I went to school for 2 years, practicing my English a little bit, and after that, I started working. I worked in an Asian restaurant, Asia buffet, we call that, washing dishes. That's why I love to wash dishes. So, yeah, I worked there, and then I worked at the Burger King, and then, yeah.
Cool. And was it there that you began to consider religious life or priesthood or vocation? How did that, did you get a phone call? Or?
Yeah. No, actually, I felt the call when I was in Iraq, back in Iraq. I went on a school trip to a monastery, and there I start feeling, that I need to do something with my life.
Yeah.
I need to be more closer to God, and that's the thing, I start to reflect and contemplate on a lot, and I spend time a lot of contemplation to see what God wants me to do. And yeah, it was when I was in Iraq, I felt the call.
So what happened with that?
Then due to the war and to the difficult situation, I postponed the idea. I said, well, let me, focus on something else. So when I got to Canada, it's again that call or that feeling hit me again very hard, and it was a moment of leaving everything and looking into it more deeply. And then I decided in 2009, I decided to join a seminary, the Aspen Seminary. And I stayed there for 2 years, and I didn't felt that I belonged there. That's the thing. I felt that I wasn't really fitting in that community. So I decided to leave. So after I left, I was kind of like away from the church, in stage of anger. And after 5 years of working and exploring life, I decided to take my call seriously, and then I decided to join the Franciscan.
How did you find the friars? I mean, we're not in Saskatchewan,
Yeah.
or at least our branch. How did you discover us?
The friars in Saskatoon, there is no presence there. There is no friars there, and it was on a snowy day in Saskatoon, around 10 p.m. I just typed in Google St. Francis of Assisi, and Our Lady of the Angels website came up, the first website, and I clicked on it. And when I clicked on it, I saw, do you want to become a friar? And I said, what is a friar? I have never heard of that word, So I read a short article about the friar's life and what they do and how they live the gospel. Then I decided to send an email to the vocation director at that time, and closed my laptop, and I went to bed, thinking of nothing, just like, let me try, why not? So after next day in the morning, around 10 o'clock, I received an answer back from the vocation director, and it was very helpful, was very, excited about having me, and from there we talked a lot about many things, and he invited me to come and see Weekend. So
What's a come and see weekend?
It's a weekend for men who are interested in religious life, to just come and see what it is all about. So I did that. I went to Ellicott City, Maryland, and we have a shrine there, and I spent a weekend there. So it was a great experience. I felt home. I felt that this is what I want to do, and yeah, after that, I just
So there was, compared to when you were in the diocesan seminary, you felt at home there?
yes.
How long did that take to realize that?
For me, it took a day. After a day, I was like, yes, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. You know, that's it. It was a final decision. I didn't even think twice. You know, I was like, yeah.
It's interesting, you know, because I had the same feeling, you know, and that's when people are discerning religious life or ministry, sometimes it seems to be prolonged. And I know when I went on my vocation retreat in Toronto, met the friars, I had an immediate sense, I fit here. I could see myself with these guys. So I'm glad that happened. So then what happened after you said, okay, this is for good?
Then I went back to Canada to just, you know, to deal with some things and stuff. And then I came back again to Maryland to do all the medical exams and psychological, you know, tests or you know, just
Well, screening,
yeah.
We take it seriously.
yeah, just to make sure that I'm a good person, not a crazy one. Yeah, and then after that, I went to Chicago for a year of postulancy. So I went there for a year.
What do you do when you're a postulant or a candidate?
Where it's basically learning about the order. Just see, like, you know, see how friars minister and how to work with people, and also learn about the order, about the rules, about the history, and about
So did you go to school?
spirituality. No, it was in-house.
So your life was some learning
and working.
and working.
Yeah.
What kind of work?
We worked at soup kitchen. We worked at Little Sister of the Poor, and some of us worked in like a senior house.
Senior place.
Yeah, senior place. Yeah.
Cool.
So,
And after the postulancy?
after postulancy, then novitiate. It's a year and a day, trapped in a in a one place, you know, for the whole year, just being in one place, doing ministry and learning and praying, and also doing a lot of labor work, you know.
Yeah. So the becoming a friar involves a process of formation, and like we said, the pre-novitiate or postulancy is that initial inquiry. Then the novitiate is a year of intense prayer, and it's removed from society. So now you were in I did my novitiate in Staten Island, New York. You did it where?
Rio Grande,
Where?
California.
California. So it is a absolutely gorgeous place by the ocean, beautiful,
Yeah.
but
In the middle of nowhere, surrounded by trees, you know, and black widows and lizards. But I mean, it's a beautiful place, but it wasn't for me. It was like, you know, I like I'm a city guy. I like city. I like, you know, lights and people. But it also, on the other hand, it was a good experience, a rich experience that I learned about myself. I learned about how to face challenges and how to learn from them, not just run away and do, you know, kind of pretend that they don't exist.
Sure.
That's the thing. That's the good thing about novitiate.
it is an intense experience.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So what happened after that?
After that, I made my vows, my simple vows. It was on July 22nd of 2018.
So you're coming on your second anniversary of vows.
Yeah,
pretty
second
soon.
anniversous of vows. Yeah.
Excellent, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
And the vows for friars make what vows?
Poverty, chastity, and obedience.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
And the what followed after your profession of vows? Oh, where'd you do them?
Oh, and like a city.
You went back to like a
Yeah,
city?
yeah,
Okay.
at the shrine. Yeah,
Cool.
I went there.
And what'd you do after that?
Then after that, you know, school starts. You know, papers, exams, and then I was sent to Silver Spring. We have a house of study there, and I am a student at CUA, Catholic University of America, and I am in second year of philosophy.
So So the house of formation, the house of studies, how many friars were there last year when you were there?
10 students and 3 professed friars.
So 13 people. So
Yeah.
10 students. That's a
Yeah.
good number. And studying philosophy, is that something you're enjoying?
No. Yeah, I don't. I mean, philosophy is not my thing. I respect it, but it's not my thing. It's something that it's very hard to fathom, and it's very dry. It's like boring, sitting in a class, for hour and 15 minutes talking about things that somehow useful, but I'm not gonna say much.
In time, when you get the big picture, it all comes into focus, God willing. And how, are you enjoying your life as a friar, though? I mean, the school may be difficult and challenging, but...
Yeah. Yes, I am actually. It's not a burden.
Okay.
Some even the vows, that I am, that I took, it's not a burden for me. It's something that brings joy to my life. It brings, it's a challenge. Yes, it's a daily challenge, but it's also it's a blessing. So I learn from that every day.
So you finished your first year at the Catholic University, and you're here in Syracuse for the summer.
Yes.
What are you doing here, and what's it like?
It has been a great experience being here at the Assumption, and my daily job is whether at the food pantry or soup kitchen. Soup kitchen, every day I do many different things. For example, making sandwiches, washing dishes, giving food at the window, also cooking. Sometimes although I don't like cooking, but I do my best helping out with the cook, and it has been a really great experience.
Coming from, you've got such a varied experience from Iraq, from Mosul to Syria to Canada, and now to the Washington D.C. area, here in Syracuse, and having more of an opportunity for direct service with people. Has there been? Were you surprised by anything, or shocked, or disappointed? Or what's your impression of the ministry?
I was surprised how. We talked about this before. How the friars are connected to the people outside, even to the volunteers here. It is not like something that it is not a boss and employee relationship. It's kind of like brothers and sisters, kind of like that. So that the connection, that's also the humor with the people that we serve. It's incredible. People are coming to us happy, and some of them are tired, but still we can make them laugh, and they can make us laugh, and that's the connection that really surprised me to see at Assumption here.
And that's really one of the gifts of Franciscan ministry, right? We don't do ministry in solidarity with the poor. We do it as their sisters, as their brothers, right? We are family, and it's more organic, kind of in the spirit of Pope Francis and Laudato Si. We already are in relationship with these people, and we celebrate it in our ministry. And you were saying how some of the people, patrons of our food pantry and soup kitchen, get excited because the volunteers and the friars know their names. There's a sense of connection there. So it sounds like it's been a good experience for you.
And they have a thing that they do with the other people, like this sounds, ooh, and that's just funny to hear all the people, how they respond to each other with that. So it's really a blessing. I really enjoy that.
What about life in the friary? That must be different than the house of formation in Silver Spring.
It is very different. I mean, the only thing we do in Silver Spring is, besides praying and ministry, is school. But we spend a lot of time, on school and focusing in our studies. But here is more than the real world, that you are here to serve and to do work that it's beyond expectations. That's the thing that I feel it's more. It's a real world. That's the thing that I feel.
Cool. And did anything surprise you about life in a regular friary?
Yes, different opinions, but at the end, they all become into an agreement about whatever that is to have. Like, it's something really surprised me how different personalities and different opinions, at the end, they will kind of be one in that thing.
Cool. One of the things I was curious about, just from my own experience, how has your family responded to you being a friar?
Being a friar for my family is something, new to them, because the name is by itself is very new. My siblings are very understanding and supporting of my vocation, and my mother kind of, she at the beginning she wasn't really not happy, but she wasn't willing to give her son,
her baby boy,
wanted to be married, have kids. But again, at the end, she realized that that's what I want to do, and also they want me to be happy, and
sure.
And I'm happy to be part of the friars and the community.
So you're hopefully at the end of this summer experience here in Syracuse, you're going to go back to the Catholic University in DC. What is your hope for the future as a friar? What do you want to do?
I don't have plan. I don't have a certain way that I want to do or to go. But what I want to be is I can be able to bring Christ to people as a friar. That is the question. Can I do that? Can I? Because we all can serve. We all can be volunteer in the food pantry. We all can do this and that. But there is, can I bring Christ to other people? That's the goal for me, at least. To see in the future if I can do that. That would be great. In anything that I do, I don't have any specific area, or I'm open to anything. Whatever God wants me to do, and I'll be happy to do it. So
good. So there's possibly some young people watching, some young men watching who maybe have had some questions about vocation. What would be your message to them?
Don't be afraid. Give it a try. Only if it's not for you, it's not for you. There's no harm in it. But give it a try. Come and see, just like I did. Come and join us and see. It's worth it. It's a meaningful life. It's not something that you're just doing for fun. Well, we have fun, yeah. I get it. We are very fun people and funny too. But again, we are doing a good job. The church needs us and needs also you because each one of us has a gift that we can give and we can provide, and the church needs you, and just come and try it out. If it's not working, that's fine. You can leave anytime.
Yeah.
But at least you have something. You have an experience with us. That's the thing.
So Raad's 2 years professed. I think 37 years.
Mm-hmm.
I can echo what he said. There are days where community is great. There's days where you want to strangle each other, but overall, it's a very satisfying life, and both life in community and ministry is pretty amazing. I want to take this opportunity to say shukran to your family, to your mom and your family who gave you as a gift to the Franciscans and to the church. And to encourage those of you who may be a bit older and have sons and daughters and people who might be interested in religious life as friars, as sisters, as diocesan priests, as deacons, but especially to our community. We're interested in a few good men, people who want to join our community, our fraternity, to bring that presence of Christ to the world, and with joy. And so thank you very much, Raad.
Thank you.
It's been great to have you here this summer.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it for Tau Talks today, and we look forward to talking to you real soon. In the meantime, if we're going to have his email on there.
Sure.
So if you're interested in religious life and want to ask Raad some questions, please feel free. Okay. See ya. Bye.